Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even the beats, like, you've been in the studio with me.
Yeah.
So you see how, like, I make the beats. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, what do we do? And I'll be like, wah, wah, wah,
yeah,
wah.
you're just playing your own sounds in your head, and it's just boom.
And then you bring it to life. My boy, Doughboy Tony.
What's up, little one?
How are you, man?
Good, brother. How about you?
I'm good, man. Welcome to the telescope room. I'm glad you finally made it.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Yeah, you know, we had to cancel a couple times.
Yeah.
But we're here now, and I'm glad that we're here. Now, I mean, I know you know, like, this podcast is not really a music podcast.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's more of a, being victorious from despair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've known you for a few years now, and I see that you're way, way, way ahead of your time. You know what I'm saying? And I know that you have a great story, so I figured that it would be super dope. And I respect you. I respect you in a major way, just as a human being. So, if we can, let's excavate. Let's go back to where it all started. And who is Doughboy Tony?
Okay, cool. So for those of you that don't know, I'm 22 years old. Also, I was born in 1999. Barely caught that 90s era. I was born in Santa Ana, Orange County, California.
All right.
And I was there up until maybe I was like 5 years old. And, the area that we grew up in, the neighborhood that my dad's from, I lived in a house like maybe a block away. That's where my grandma's house was.
Oh, okay.
And so my dad's like neighborhood, my dad was gang affiliated or whatever. His neighborhood was very close, and like that whole area is just gang infested.
Right.
So my dad growing up the way he did, he didn't want the same thing for me,
Right.
So
right.
we moved to Garden Grove about 15. It's the neighboring city to Santa Ana.
To a better environment.
Yeah, somewhat better.
Somewhat better
environment. Better than what we were
where
in.
you were at.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we moved over to the neighboring city, and thankfully, I guess my dad's whole like plan or perspective of what he wanted, I guess you could say it worked.
Started working for him.
Yeah, it started working for him.
To better your situation as a family.
Exactly.
Because your dad was trying to escape the violence and the gang shit.
The realities of the ghetto,
The
man.
realities of being a product of the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it wasn't completely because, I didn't mention this, but my parents were teen parents. So, my dad, he's still growing up. He's growing up with me pretty much. We're growing up at the same time. Obviously, he's a lot older. He's more mature than me. I'm a kid.
Yeah, but
we're growing
kids
up
having
together.
kids.
Yeah.
Me too.
We're growing up together, man. And, so it wasn't like, on the weekends, we were still going to the city. All my family's in the city, parties, whatever it is. And I was still around the gang culture, all that, like drugs. Like I just grew up around it, I was able to see it.
I mean, 15 minutes ain't gonna change that regardless,
Yeah. So, but at home it was a lot different. I didn't have to put up with that so much. But
plus, you were in an environment with someone that wanted change for you.
Exactly, somebody who wanted me to see better.
Yeah. So you had
big picture, pretty much.
So you had good leadership.
Yeah, exactly.
So inside the house, regardless of what was going outside,
Yeah.
you had a good leadership team trying to put you in a better situation as a person.
Oh no, yeah, of course. My mom and my dad have always tried to guide me in the right way and not let me stray off. If I stray off, it's because of my own decisions.
Yeah. Shout out to your parents, man. They're
no
beautiful
doubt.
people. Shout out to your parents.
Shout out to them, man. So yeah, I feel like in a way I was blessed. It sounds weird to say that like I grew up around, uncles, drug addicts, doing drugs. I grew up around, family members doing drugs.
Prison environment.
Yeah, but in a way it was a blessing because like I got to see the best of both worlds, man. I really got to see what would happen if I went this way, and I really got to see what would happen if I went this way. So, I'm still a kid, so I'm not really grasping everything, but at the end of the day, it's like I do see it, like I'm realizing okay, look how this person's doing and look how this person's doing, and these are the steps that this person took, and these are the steps that this person took.
Yeah, and if I may, one of the things that I noticed about you when I met you, you were what? You were like 19, maybe 18?
I was 19, I think 19 when you met me.
You were very observant.
Yeah.
Very young. You know, like I seen you and you were very observant. You didn't say much, but you were observant.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a good quality to have if you know what to do with that information.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're being observant, you're being aware, and you're being conscious of what's around you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I could see, you know, from the moment that I met you and that we started interacting as people, that you were ahead of your time already. You know what I mean? Just the way you carried yourself, just the way you spoke. I mean, just the maturity you had musically as an artist was amazing. Yeah. You know, because you're like true rooted hip hop.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I didn't want to interrupt, but
no, yeah, you're good. But yeah, you know, to break off of that, I've always been very observant, and it's always been, I feel like, because I grew up that way, like not to be like super precautious or to like always be anxious about something, but just always stay on your toes because you just never know.
Right.
And especially like certain environments and scenarios that I've been in, it's like you got to be that way.
Yeah, of course.
And then now I do it even more because, you know,
now you're in the world.
Yeah. And as fucked up as it sounds, is like when you're building a platform, there's always somebody trying to destroy it. So it's like now it's like I'm that times 10, bro. I'm always like, every time I go out, I was just keeping in the back of my head, like, yo, like you just gotta.
That was one of the things. That was one of the things that I was going to ask you, because usually on the drive over here, I never think of like, what am I gonna? I just let it happen organically.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you know, because most of the guests that come here are a little bit older, I was thinking of what I could ask you. So I was. Because I know you and I see, like I said, timeless, and ahead of your time. How did your environment and how did you growing up and everything that you, like you said, being observant, how do you use that as an artist? Like how do you use what you learned here into where you're at now as an artist?
I think that was very easy for me. If you listen to my music, if you listen to my catalog, I'm a big storyteller.
Yeah.
And I just love it because I'm able to sit back and just analyze everything, just kind of take everything in and then put my own spin on it, where it's like, this is how I see it and this is how I take this. So when you put it into music, and then even though it's something personal, I still try to like incorporate how other people might feel, because I want everybody to be like, okay.
Like theatrical.
Yeah, exactly.
Like make it theatrical.
And everybody can just relate to it.
And everybody can relate to it.
Because obviously not everybody's got my same exact story, but
it's relatable.
Exactly.
It's very relatable. Yeah. And you know, man, we need more of that. And you know, like the way that we have that in music, this is why I wanted to do this podcast, because a lot of people can relate to growing up in dysfunction.
Yeah.
A lot of people can relate growing up with trauma. A lot of people can relate growing up in a polluted, contaminated environment.
Yep.
But just like you were victorious from coming out of that, and I was victorious coming out of that, this is why we can give hope to other people that are trying to come out of that. So, you know, your story, let's keep going. So you were growing up, you were being observant, you kept going, and what's next?
Yeah, so I think honestly, so I didn't even mention this, but one thing that played a big part on me too, that I think kept me well structured, was sports. You know,
sports.
My dad is a huge sports head, bro. So since I was like 4 or 5 years old, like I was just playing soccer, and I played soccer, I played t-ball, and then when I was like in middle school, I did like flag football, I did basketball, and then
that kept you distracted.
Yeah,
and it kept you busy.
Yeah, it kept me busy,
and you enjoyed doing it.
Exactly.
That's
and
dope.
You know, once I'm like really getting into the sports and I'm enjoying it, you know, you start to recognize other sports like professionals, they become your idols. You want to be like them.
Yeah.
So you kind of start to stray away from like your real, like your family, your immediate family. You got new idols now. You know, now it's not just mom and dad.
Yeah.
Now I got, like Ronaldinho. Like
yeah. Like you're out of the bubble.
Exactly.
You know, there's another world.
Exactly.
You know, because I used to play soccer too. I was in a soccer team and all that too. Yeah. And I remember like we would get in the van and when we would drive to the park, like we never, I didn't leave my neighborhood for a long time.
Yeah.
So when like the van came and it would pick us up, And we would drive like 40 minutes away. And when we get out the van, I'd be like, oh shit, where the fuck am I?
Exactly.
This is a park right here. You know what I'm saying? These other kids right here. And then you learn that you're competing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this motherfucker just pushed me. Like, I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? And then you see that it can be brutal too. Being in competition can be brutal as an adult and as a child, as when you were young too. Why? Because a lot of those kids come from the same environment that we do. You know what I'm saying? So some of them, like, real shit, even though, like, that was good for us and our parents were trying to do something, like, there's a lot of built up shit in a lot of those youngsters too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That anger out,
Let me get that anger out right now. Like, you know, but the soccer was, man, that's a heavy sport though, bro. You got to be, bro, I almost went into cardiac arrest like 4,000 times running so much. You know what I'm saying?
Obviously, when I was playing, I was a lot more pounds lighter than this. But, you know, I was playing soccer, man. And I like I said, I feel like that helped keep me structured, you know, because you learn a lot when you play sports. You learn, you know, discipline. You learn how to lose. You learn discipline. You know how to build camaraderie with your people. You know, and you learn how to celebrate, obviously, a win. So a lot of that plays into who you become as a person. A lot of people that don't see that at home, and that if they don't get it in sports, they miss out on it a lot in the future, and they pay for it later, you know? I'm not saying I'm perfect. I still got to work on myself. It definitely.
That is great though, man. I mean, this is great information. You know, because there's a lot of young parents out there right now that really don't know what to do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great information. You know, because you're right. It does teach you how to lose. It teaches you how to celebrate in a way that you earned. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you mutualism. You know what I'm saying? So that's great that you were able to carry those traits and those qualities and those values to the real world in your real life, which now that you're here, they're still with you. And they're with your pops.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So that's super dope.
Yeah. So that's how it was for me. And then, you know, as much as it was fun and good for me, like, on the other hand, like, it really was tough. My dad's super competitive, bro. Like, super. I mean, he kind of passed that on to me, but like him, it was worse because to speak on him a little bit more, he was a great soccer player, bro. At the age of 17, he got called by LA Galaxy to go try out. Unfortunately, they denied it because he was an immigrant. You know, they didn't allow it because of his status. So
that sucks.
So
that's
great
garbage.
Soccer player, bro. He ends up having me. And it's almost like he pushed his dream, his passion onto me.
On you.
Yeah. And as a kid, I didn't realize it. Like, I liked soccer. I've liked soccer, but I feel like I never naturally got to grow the passion for it. Because,
like, you liked it, but you didn't love it like him.
Yeah. Right. And it almost felt like a job. Like,
like a chore. Like, damn, I got to make him proud. Like, damn, I got to stick to this.
Exactly.
Man, I don't want to disappoint him.
Yeah. And you know, what made it harder was, like, he coached a lot of my teams. So it was like, man, bro, like.
So you're at home with him. And then when you go to practice, the pressure's on.
Still on me, that was big for me, bro, because when I was, I want to say 12 years old, my parents went through like a little, like, you know, separation, and they went their separate ways for a little bit. And that was tough on me too, because when you grow up in a household and you see, like, if you grow up without a certain parent, you kind of start to get used to it.
You adapt
obviously
to that.
You don't like it, or you feel the absence.
The absence.
But you start to adapt to it. And obviously me, 12 years old, you know, I was like, what the fuck?
What's happening right here, right now?
So that was kind of like a downhill point for me, bro.
That was like a huge obstacle for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I was like, man, what's going on? You know,
that's trauma for you, bro.
Yeah.
That's a traumatic thing for you emotionally at 12 years old, to see the two people that you're the closest to separate.
Yeah.
And you're stuck.
Exactly.
So this is in the midst of you being 12 years old, playing in soccer. You're consistent with your sports. You have both your parents. One of them, your pops, is kind of like pushing you to be the star of the show. Yeah. And then they separate. So what happens then?
It was like a downhill point for me for a bit, man.
You started getting depressed?
I felt like a little bit of depression, bro. I really did. And to me, coping with depression was like just stay home, bro. I just stayed home. I was never a video game person. I picked up a fucking controller, couldn't get stuck off the screen.
You didn't have no more ambition to go play.
Exactly. Literally, like within that happened. That same day that happened, I believe the next day I had practice, and I told him, I'm not trying to go to practice. And he said, okay, you're not going to go tomorrow, but we're picking it back up next week or whatever. Next week, you tried picking up for practice, and I'm not going. Wow. And my mom had my full back, obviously.
Yeah, I was going to say, did that create conflict between you and your father?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I'm not saying I don't know what he was feeling at the time. I didn't feel any type of like difference from him. Like he didn't treat me different because of it, but I felt the animosity a little bit. Not animosity, but in terms of like that's not what he wanted from me. I felt it big time.
Was that maybe the first time that those feelings started surfacing between you two?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was very unfamiliar for you.
But like I said, it didn't get uncomfortable because like he was like, okay, fuck it. He was still supportive of it. He was like, all right, whatever, and he was staying with my grandma at the time, and I would come over, like we would still do cool things. Like
you guys would still see each other on a consistent basis.
All the time.
So the father-son relationship was still there. You guys were preserving it.
Yeah.
There wasn't distance, but he wanted you to stay into the sport.
Yeah. And even if it wasn't soccer, to be honest with you, I feel like he just wanted me to stay active, bro.
Okay.
Like do something,
He just wanted you to see you be productive.
Yeah.
Not be on the video games with no ambition.
Exactly.
No drive.
But like at that point, my frequencies were so low, bro. Like I was just like, I used it as a scapegoat.
Did you ever try talking to them about it? About how you were feeling and maybe your frequency's low and what's going on with you guys?
Honestly, nah. I just kind of hit it. I kind of hit it with like just being I felt like if I just like, I don't know. I didn't want to, at that point, I didn't want to make it seem like I was the victim,
Right.
I don't know why.
So you'd rather just not say anything and just adapt to what is happening.
Yeah.
And you kind of buried the way you were feeling.
Yeah. I kept it cool a little bit, I think the one who probably saw it a lot more was my mom, just because I lived with her.
Okay.
And it got to a point where it's like I didn't even want to stay with her anymore. I wanted to go with my dad. But then, like, I would be with my dad, and like he would want to do things, and I'd be like, "Nah, I want to go back to my mom." Yeah, so it was
that was probably difficult for them too.
Oh, for sure.
It's a tug of war with their own child.
And that's the thing is like I was just looking out for my own comfort.
Right.
Now when I'm older, I look back and I'm like, man, like, why did I stop?
You were 12,
Yeah, I was a kid. Yeah, I didn't know better. Exactly.
You're dealing with an unfamiliar feelings.
Yeah.
You're in depression. You don't know how to deal with those feelings.
Yeah.
So, of course, like that's a difficult situation. I went through something similar, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. And so that's what I was feeling at that point, man. And like in school, I've never been like I've been solid with school, but I was never like a exceller, like straight A's or nothing like that throughout middle school.
Yeah, but you're naturally smart though. You're intelligent. Bro.
Yeah. Well, there's only the only class I ever really did really good in was history and English.
Oh,
so I guess that plays into what I do now. So
that explains a lot.
And that year, bro, like I was doing bad. I was doing bad. I almost got kicked out of school because I was stealing from like the staff people stuff.
You were rebelling.
Yeah, like not like dramatically. Like I wasn't out doing drugs and I wasn't. Yeah,
but it wasn't you.
Yeah.
Like your personality and who you were was shifting into another direction that was unfamiliar to your parents.
Exactly.
Because you were rebelling.
Yep.
So how did they handle that?
Man, it was tough. I feel like they didn't really know. I feel like it was more of like a harder situation for them. And I might be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like neither one of them wanted to put too much on me because they didn't at the time, if they're separated, you don't want me to pick a side. You get me?
Yeah, for sure.
If my pops is too much on me and like boom, 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 I'm gonna be like, man, screw you. Like, mom, this and that. So, but honestly, they both they were good at coming together and like they talked to me about it. And that's kind of like when I was snapping out of it, like, okay, whatever, fuck. Like, and sure enough, like I picked up my grades in 8th grade. I was able to promote, go to high school, whatever. But I think they did a good job at like
to come in as a team,
coexisting and talking to me.
See, and that's important, man.
Yeah,
that's important. You know, they say that you know, we are a big reflection of our parents as well.
Yeah,
you know, and meeting your pops and meeting your mom, you are, you know what I'm saying? You are a reflection of them, you know, because they're both great people. And again, in time of turbulence and in time of despair, bro, is when it matters the most.
Yeah.
And I think that regardless of how they were feeling, and I know that, you know, it was a tough situation for everybody, they still did what was right and come together to co-parent you and make sure that you didn't stray.
Exactly.
And end up, you know, in Pelican Bay or something, you know?
No, yeah, of course. Yeah, and you know, around that time too is like I started to feel like certain things like that I see my uncles do. Like in terms of like being out on the streets, graffiti, all that shit, I started liking that shit.
Started getting curious.
Like I started loving it. Like graffiti is only one thing that I picked up out of all the things, and it wasn't even like, you know, like horrible, but it was one thing that I did was like, man, like this is cool, whatever. And I feel like when I got to high school, and then I started meeting other homies there, and I seen like, again, it's just weird how it plays out for me, bro.
At this
like,
time, you're already what, 15?
14.
14, 15?
14, 15.
Okay.
When I'm a freshman in high school. And the first homies that ever like introduced themselves to me there just happened to be some knuckleheads, bro. And like, that's the first crowd I adapted to. And I started seeing the way they functioned. And I started
betraying each other.
Yeah, like just like the shit that goes on, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, what the fuck? And I, like, okay, I still kept it cool with them, but I knew like, nah, this ain't
like,
it.
I don't want to fuck with that.
Yeah. Because at home with my uncles and that, like I didn't really see that, you know?
Right.
Like I saw them and what they were doing, and sometimes I'll go with him and his homies, and like I would just
it was
see
a different
them having a good
vibe.
time. Yeah.
It was a different vibe.
Exactly. So it's crazy, but that's just how it works for me, man. Like as soon as I get to get a taste of something, I'm gonna know whether like this is for me, this is not for me, this is what I should do, this is what I shouldn't do.
That's a great trait to have, bro. It's so young.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, like I'm still like, what the fuck why am I in this shithole right now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a great trait to have. You know what that really boils down to, bro? Like without us even realizing it, you're setting boundaries for yourself.
Yeah.
Those are healthy boundaries that you're setting for yourself. Like, you know what? I'm not going to honor that shit that they're doing. Like, I'm going to come over here because it's not good for my life.
Yeah.
You know, like, if more people had boundaries, bro, there'd be more peace in the world, straight up.
Yeah.
You know, like, when we abandon our boundaries, we abandon who we are. When we abandon who we are, we abandon all that we can be, bro.
Exactly.
So for you to have that in high school, I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
So you started straying away from that environment and that crowd. Yeah. Where did you go after that? What did you start getting into?
I was always in between, bro. Like, I wasn't the type of dude that like it's like I wasn't scared of the things that were going on over there. Like, I grew up around shit like that, so it was easy for me to adapt to it, and like I could like relate with these people. So I always just kept it like in between them, and then I always had like another group of friends. You know, I kicked it with the homies that played soccer. You know, and then I just had other friends.
From your team from before?
No. Like, they're high school soccer players.
Okay, so it's not like the team, your homies that are your age now.
No.
Okay, a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I met them there. So, basically...
Did it want to make you want to go back into the game?
Oh, yeah, it did.
Yeah?
Yeah, it did.
Did you go back?
No, I didn't.
You didn't, but you were feeling the itch.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, even now that I'm older, like, we go scrim with the homies sometimes. Like, let's go play, fuck it.
Let's go, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, bro. I liked it. It's just, I guess, the way that, like, I grew up in the sport was a little tough for me, I guess you could say.
Right.
And, you know, the minute I got an excuse or a scapegoat to get out of it, I did.
Right. So when it resurfaced in your life and you were already in high school, the pressure was off? It was more fun again?
Yeah.
It wasn't a chore now. It was like, I could do this, but I could do it without like pops.
Yeah, because
wanted me to go to.
I seen how high school sports works. You know, you go to school. After school, you get with your teammates. You go to practice. I know Dad's not gonna be out there in the field. You know,
right. I'm gonna go have fun.
If he goes to the games, there's a chance that he's not gonna be out in the stands. You know, screaming at me. I'm gonna have my coach. You know, like I know it's just gonna be different. It's gonna be a lot different.
Yeah. How did he feel? How did Pops feel when you were like playing ball again in high school?
Well, I didn't play in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't play in high school.
He knew. Did he know you were like playing with your?
Oh, like I would go out, like, yeah, sometimes like I would go to, after school, I would go with homies and I would go to a park, kick the ball around, go to.
Oh, okay, but nothing like, okay, you didn't join the team again.
No.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
no.
okay.
He was cool about it, man. Like, he liked it. He was like, oh, like, I would tell him, like, I'm gonna go, kick the ball around with some homies. All right, cool.
All
like,
right.
nothing like.
No more like, hey, you got to get back into the soccer.
Oh, yeah, no.
He was already like over that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 9th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And like, to go back, I think like a huge thing too for my dad was the fact that like, I'm not saying I could have gone pro, but like, I was doing my thing.
Right.
When I stopped playing soccer, I believe it was a coach for Chapman University. My dad had like some type of relation with him, maybe for work, I believe. And when my dad, I was like 13, 14 at this point. I'm going into high school. Colleges started looking at high school students.
Right.
My dad calls the coach, and the coach is like, "What's up? Is Tony ready? Like, Anthony's ready or what?" And he had to like tell him like, "Nah, he stopped playing this and that."
Yeah,
and like, he was like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
So I think it was really hard because he seen something. I'm an average student. I'm good at the sport. You can go to college with that, bro. You can get paid. You can get your college tuition paid off for doing shit like that.
Right.
So it was like, man, like he felt like as if I might have fucked up a whole opportunity.
Like, so
which in a way is true. Like,
did you ever feel that you let him down?
Oh yeah.
So like you might have had a little bit of guilt, like damn, but if you really think about it, beyond that, those were his expectations.
Yeah.
For you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not yours. So that's what creates the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I should have went and did what he wanted me to do because he's your pops.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When did the time come that you guys were able to like fix that whole, because it's a knot.
Yeah.
Because even if you guys are not talking about it, like it's there, like, damn, I wanted you to play. Like, damn, I had this set up. Like, damn, you could have done this. Like, it's still, I'm sure there was a time it was still there. Like, did the time come that you guys like unknotted that and like that shit was over? Because sometimes people don't talk about things and there's like a silent thing there for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, just kind of like awkward.
Yeah, and they don't like, on their deathbed, they're like, by the way, like, I'm sorry for that. You know what I'm saying? So like, did the moment ever come for you two where you guys untethered that part?
I would say definitely. So I had a show one time and
you were already
I was already doing music.
Okay.
So this is after high school and then even another year after. So I didn't start getting shows till 2019. This was like mid 2019. I had a show, and even before this, I kind of already felt it because I was doing music already and like just kind of seeing his reaction, But after the show, it's like he kind of talked to me and he told me like how he felt. He always felt like since he's like strayed me away from soccer, which he thought was my best option, for looking forward like future wise, not necessarily like because I'm gonna go pro, but like I could go through school with soccer or whatever. Like he just felt like that was my solution. And since he felt like he kind of strayed me away from it, I guess he felt for many years that he kind of in a way fucked my life up
because of the separation.
Yeah. So when the whole separation happened, and then I kind of used that excuse to stop soccer.
Yeah. So he felt he messed up your chance to stay ambitious and become a athlete in soccer.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Or not even just an athlete, but a scholar,
Yeah. Like
soccer.
make it for a living or your scholarship.
Exactly. So then after the show, he kind of just told me like man, like now I see what you want to do pretty much. Like this is your passion. You're destined to do this. And he's always told me before too, like he always felt like I was just destined to do something great.
Yeah.
Like always. So I've always had that in the back of my head. So even for me, like all those years through high school, at one point I really did like psychology.
Yeah.
Like I've always just kind of liked the idea of like studying people and like just understanding how their minds work and reading people and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I was leaning towards. But once I picked up the mic, it was a rap. I already knew like, oh, this is it for me.
That's super dope. So would you say that in a way after you guys had that conversation,
It kind of
it kind of untethered, and he was like,
for sure.
He got into the acceptance that the passion that he had for soccer, the music was your passion.
It correlated to my passion.
To your passion.
Yeah, for sure.
That's super dope, bro. Because I mean, if I've learned anything like personally in my life is that expectancy, it determines outcomes. And when you're not attached to the outcome is guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because even me now in my life, where I'm at in my life now, like just because you grow and just because you're in a better place, there's still some things that don't manifest for you.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? There's things that I've thought this is going to work and it just doesn't work. Oh, I'm going to do better and it just doesn't work. What I've learned is to just be still.
Yeah.
To just be still and continue to nurture myself and let those things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Exactly.
Instead of begging them to happen, wanting them to happen, because that in itself creates resistance.
Yeah.
When you want it to happen and you create resistance and inner conflict with yourself. And you know, man, like it can be a bummer because you're in the midst of growing and you're in the midst of living a positive life. You're in the midst of doing good things. So you automatically get into the assumption that because you're doing that, this is going to work. Yep. And when it doesn't work and energies are failing each other, you kind of regress. And then you end up in a situation where you're playing ping pong poison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, again, I think that you guys being able to untether that and for him to accept and respect that you have a passion the way he had a passion and support you, I think that's the most beautiful thing, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that was super important, bro. Like, it took a lot of weight off of our shoulders, you know? Especially mine, I think, because it's like, man, like, I was stuck for many years, bro. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I just felt like in a dark place. Right. I was going to college. Like, I signed up for college, and I was going to college. But even then, like, even while I was going to college, I still like couldn't grasp passion for anything that I was supposed to go to school for.
Music was already in your at that time.
I've always loved music. Like even when I was like maybe like 13, around that time that everything was going on, I was writing rhymes.
Yeah,
I wasn't spitting them.
It was the same for me. Like when I was 12, 13 years old, I was doing neighborhood raps. You know what I mean? For the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you know, as I got older, it was a whole bunch of trauma in my life, but the music was my savior.
Yeah. The
music, because, you know, I was listening to Run DMC and LL Cool J and the Beastie Boys and Grandmaster Flash, you know, so while everybody was like doing other things, I was writing. Yeah. So when I actually got an opportunity to get in the studio and record once in a decade, I was ready.
Yeah.
There was no filling out process. There was no, let me hear this beat and then I'll go home and write. I went in there and I just beheaded the damn booth because I was ready.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So when it becomes your passion and it becomes your purpose, it becomes you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why when you were in college and when you were in class, you're like, this is cool and all, but I'm over here.
I got something else.
I got something else.
Yeah.
And I mean, me just being on the outside as an artist and as a person, bro, I've been able to see the magnitude of your growth is absolutely amazing. And the magnitude of your support, not only from your parents, but from your peers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even people that are older than you, people that are younger than you, people that are in between. Because, bro, you are great at what you do, bro.
Thank you, bro.
You're not only a great artist, but you're a great person, bro, and you carry yourself with so much class, bro.
Thank you.
And that says so much, you know what I'm saying? And I applaud you for that, bro.
Appreciate it, bro.
So now that you're in the music game and that you're doing your thing with music, did you make the decision like, I may be doing some things here and there, but this is what I'm going to focus on? Oh,
yeah. As soon as like I started in 2018, the summer 2018. 2019 is when I really started seeing shit kick off. I made this song called Cultura, which, you know, in that song I express a lot about how I feel like from the way I seen my people, you know, like the struggles that I seen and I'm not telling like my family or my friends, like brown people. So I expressed everything in that song, and that song like just skyrocketed for me. And the minute that happened, the minute I seen that and the love I was receiving, that's when I was like, man, like I'm never gonna stop now, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is for me.
Yeah.
Whether I got other things going on the side, like I'll keep doing it and whatever, but
this is dominant.
This is my true lane.
Yeah, this is what you're doing.
This
your
is
true
really
lane.
what I care about. This is really what I'm supposed to be like focused on, you know?
And that's super dope, bro, because that's what it was for me. You know, I wasn't interested in anything else. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to record. I just wanted to record. And, you know, again, like I got so consumed in the recording side of it that I didn't even care about the business side of it at that point. You know what I'm saying? I was just there to make music,
No doubt.
you know? But, you know, again, I think for you to be able to take the initiative, bro, and to be able to take a step back and be like, you know what? This is what I want to do. And I think anybody that's heard your music or anybody that's been in your presence absolutely salutes you, bro. I mean, you spit, bro, like you've been doing it since, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but you got the hip hop element, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you sound like you're from another time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even when I was younger, bro, like I grew up around one of my uncle, my mom's youngest brother. He was like he loves graffiti, and, you know, as part of one of the hip hop elements. So hip hop just kind of like fell into his lap in a way. And so me and him are only 9 years apart. Like I don't even see him as an uncle. I've always said it, like he's like my brother.
Yeah.
Like since I was younger, like we lived together, you know, before. And even when I got older, you know, we lived together. So I've always just seen him as a big brother to me. And I spent so much time with him, bro. And it's like, just, I was listening to whatever he was listening. I just wanted to be in his room, just watching him fucking on his black book, sketching.
Yeah, watching him do his
and
thing.
just listening to his shit, chilling with his homies and shit. Like, that's just what I wanted to be doing. And I was in that room just listening to these melodies, listening to these bars. And
like you were saying, like you were observing mentally.
Yeah.
You were mentally observing. You were taking in like you said, the melodies, the hi-hat, the beat, the drum beat, the drops, the rhymes. That's exactly what I did. Like you start dissecting it.
Yep.
Then it becomes you.
Exactly. And that's kind of like when I initially was like, damn, like I started loving hip hop and I fell in love with the music. And aside from him, my mom's oldest brother, he was like more of an R&B guy. And sometimes like he would babysit me. Sometimes he would pick me up from school, and like whatever he was bumping in the whip, like I started liking that shit. Like 90s R&B. I was like, man, I like this too.
Right.
So like, you know, just putting everything together. I grew up in Santa Ana, Orange County, so funk was everywhere.
Big. Yeah.
Like it
still is.
It's still huge, bro. So funk was just there in my face, bro.
You had it all.
I loved funk. Yeah. So, and then obviously the whole West Coast sound, everybody was bumping Snoop, all that
for sure.
shit. So,
Dre, all that.
Yeah. So everything was just there. But I guess the first thing that caught my attention, I would say, was like East Coast, more underground hip hop. The shit the Monk was bumping, like the shit that Tigers bump, you know?
Yeah.
So I've always loved that sound, and I've always loved that style, and I feel like I incorporated it a lot. Like if you listen to my music, you notice that inspiration is heavily implemented into my music.
That's super dope, bro. I think that's super dope. And another thing that I want to touch on that is a little off subject, and rewind a little bit, that I think is important is, you know, when you said you were 12 and your parents went through the separation and it was a down thing for you, thank God that you came out of it and that everything is okay and that it played out, you know, you were able to use some of those things that you learned from that and put it in your life. But one thing that I learned that I didn't do, you know, till I was way older, that I think is important for the audience to hear, parents, kids, or young parents, is it's important that when we use our downtime to up ourselves, and nurture ourselves and heal ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's important that we do that, but that we do it with integrity, because when you do something with integrity, you're actually gonna honor it. You know what I'm saying? Because in all due reality, dog, what everybody in this world wants, they just want to be free. Yeah. You want to be personally liberated.
Exactly.
And the only thing that liberates you, bro, is authentic truth. When you're in acceptance of the truth, not the effort to be free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to struggle. It's okay to regress.
No doubt.
It's okay to be down. But the objective is to remember that when you're down, the objective is to get back up.
Yeah.
That's the most important. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And for us to be able to sit here and reflect, you know, right around when I was your age, I went through something so similar and I was going through it bad. Bro, the pen and the pad became a galaxy for me.
Yep.
Like literally a galaxy. Like this was the moon and this was the stars.
Yeah.
And when I would start writing, bro, like I was in another galaxy.
Yeah, you just lost.
Yeah, that's it.
On your own.
Yeah, and I would get the thesaurus and I'd be like, instead of saying things like, I'm wanted by the police and I'm tired, I would say like, I'm a fugitive on the run and I'm exhausted. You know what I'm saying? So then I started paying attention to things like that, like skeletons.
It's important.
Yeah, being made out of these melodies, remedies, made to make memories, and enemies better be ready to flee, you know?
Yeah.
So when I started learning how to put the words together like that, like you said, I'm like, I want more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even the beats, like you've been in the studio with me.
Yeah.
So you see how like I make the beats. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, what do we do? And I'll be like, wah, wah, wah,
Yeah,
wah.
you just playing your own sounds in your head and it's just boom.
And then we bring it to life.
Yeah.
That in itself is such a victory for me personally, because when I'm able to bring my own vision and my own sound and my own to life, that's proof.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's proof that you can create. Anybody can create.
Yep.
Go be the best artist and it'll come to you the way it always does.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a rapper, a actor, you know, whatever you're going to be, like, don't be afraid of your art.
Yep.
Don't be afraid of your art. Engage with your art and make that your purpose. Become a person of purpose and do it on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's something people fell on too, is like they look at other shit too much. Like they look at what other people are doing and they don't want to do it because it's like, man, but it's like, dude, everybody's got to take that first step to get to this certain scenario. And that's just something people got to get out of their heads, man.
Bro, the president of the United States 100 years from now is not born yet.
Exactly.
He's going to become president at some point. He's going to make a decision to say,
Yep.
this is what I want to do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you did that. I did that. We did that. Your dad did that, even beyond soccer, by taking you out and saying, you know what, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure that I can be a good leader and create a good path for my son.
Yeah.
You know, and every time I see you, I see him. And every time I see him, I see you. And that's dope, bro. You know what I mean? That's super dope. So what's going on in your life now? What's currently happening with Doughboy Tony?
So now, you know, I've up and from when I started to now, I put out an album and I put out an EP. And like I've been dropping singles here and there. You know, right now I'm not too focused on a whole project. I've been doing singles and dropping visuals to it. So I've probably got maybe 12 music videos out right now.
All right.
So,
yeah,
you know,
I've seen some of them. I've seen some. I remember when your first project came out, I think it was like July 14th, right?
Yeah, 7/14.
Right? Like 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember your dad was all excited. Like he told me, you know, and I heard it. It was an EP, yeah?
No, that one was like
that was a full album, yeah.
8 songs.
So you got these songs done, you're gonna just drop visuals. Obviously, we live in a completely different climate now.
Yeah.
You know, albums are like, you know, everyone's just flooding music, which is in a sense good to me. Because I have like a whole bunch of songs just sitting there and I'm like, I'm just gonna put these motherfuckers out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do a visual and just put them out. You know what I'm saying? In the end, it's just everybody's doing their thing.
Everybody's doing it, yeah. So yeah, I got that album you were talking about, and then I have an EP I did after that album. That EP was pretty dope. It's just straight storytelling, man. Every single song on that
had
EP,
a story of your life, right?
Yeah, coexisting to me. The last song is about me, but the first, I don't remember the order, but there's one song about my pops and how it relates to me. Is a song about my mom, and that one's kind of about. Well, the one about my dad is just coming from nothing, bro, and doing something being an immigrant, going into gangbanging culture, be doing drugs and all that, and just making it out of that. My mom's kind of related to teen pregnancy, you know, for people who go through that.
See, all that is, bro, you're using the desire that you had or the curiosity that you had for psychology,
exactly.
And you're implementing it into your music.
Yeah, I always say that too.
Yeah, bro, because that's what a thinker does.
Yeah.
You get creative with your art.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I got the idea from Once in a Decade. Like, everyone was like, oh, how did you get Once in a Decade, right? Well, there was this wino dude when I was a kid, and he used to always say, cabrones como yo nomás vienen una vez cada 10 años, right? So I was like, well, that's once in a decade.
Yeah.
And that's where I grabbed it from. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
But
yeah.
again, it was my curiosity of being able to use a metaphor and to use it differently instead of once every 10 years.
Yeah.
It was once in a decade, you know what I mean? But that's where
There you
it
go.
comes from. It comes from, you know,
That's crazy, bro.
yeah, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's dope, man. That's really dope. So outside of music, and what do you got going on with your life besides music? Are you doing anything on the side too?
So besides music, I'm trying to get my merch going. Like I'm building a brand, you know. Like eventually, I want to like just have a solid ass team of creators, bro. That we just come together and just work. My boy Eddie, shout out to him. He just graduated from Cal State Dominguez Hills. He went for like engineering and stuff like that. He's passionate about music just as much as I am. You know, he's the first one.
You need that.
He's actually the first one ever put me like behind the mic, you know, and record me.
Yeah.
So I got him. Shout out to homie Zeus, who's like on production right now. I just met him this past year, but like it's been nothing but solid vibes, you know. Like you just feel the energy, bro.
Yeah,
it's
bro.
genuine.
The best record companies and the best success stories like Ruthless Records and Death Row and No Limit and Rap A Lot. Like, that's what it was.
Exactly.
Bunch of creative people that were on the same page from the same book, wanting to go to the same place, passionate about the same shit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, hey, you know, like this beat is this much. Like, let's work.
Exactly. That's how it is.
You know why? Because they were not attached to the outcome, bro.
Yeah.
They were just passionate, working. And the outcome itself
will naturally come, bro.
It just showed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's real. That is really, really, really important. Not only that, you being observant and being able to make an intelligent decision for yourself. Because, I mean, we do get caught up in the cycles of life sometimes.
Yeah.
And we can make decisions based out of desperation, based out of emotion. And sometimes those decisions get you in trouble.
Exactly.
It's best to take a step back and make an intelligent decision, not because you want to hurt anybody else, but ultimately, bro, like as people, if we love each other, let's take care of each other. You know what I'm saying? And you get better, they get better, and then eventually in time, you could be better together.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's played out in my life personally, and it's played out in my life, you know, artistically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's dudes that I grew up with that were artists that we ended up falling out over the politics of music. And then later in life, when we both got older and we were both parents and we were on some other shit, we reunited and our relationship was a million times stronger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. And that's how I see it right now. You know, I know a lot of people that like they'll hit me up like, oh, like I want to get creative, I want to do this. But like they're already trying to reap benefits out of it. You get me?
Yeah,
like,
but again, that's because the intent is different.
Yeah.
The objective is different.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't have this conversation with somebody. If somebody doesn't understand the passion, if somebody doesn't understand the story, the resilience, the ambition, if they only see the chains, the cars, the videos, bro, it's like trying to teach a dog calculus.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand.
Exactly.
Bro, I had the same problem. Like, dog, I'm dope and blah, blah, blah. And watch when you put me on. And I'll be like, dog, like, relax. It's not about that.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said, like, anybody can record over 10 beats. That's not an album. Yeah. What you did with your EP, and that, like, you created something that came from purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like making a story out of your curiosity for psychology as an artist, like you put it all together. See, that's art.
Yeah.
This is art. You know, tattoo artist, that's art. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Feed your art, feed your purpose, and make it happen, and everything else comes to you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's why I always see things too, because like I don't ever like look into certain things that I'm gonna do, like what's the outcome of it? You know, like I don't go in the studio and make a song and I'm like, man, this is the one. This is gonna, like, I never look at shit like that.
You're not
like,
attached to the outcome.
I'm just like, this was fucking dope, and I'm gonna put it out.
And I'm gonna put it out.
Exactly.
And what happens, happens.
Exactly.
Bro,
something breaks out. If not,
I'm the same thing with my podcast, bro. Like, I don't give a damn. I'm not like, how many views that I don't care. I enjoy being here.
Yeah.
I enjoy having this conversation. I enjoy having a meaningful conversation of us talking about things that are meaningful.
Exactly.
That means more to me than anything, more than views and more than money. Because no matter what happens after we both leave today, we're never going to forget that we had a really, really meaningful conversation.
Yeah.
The way we always do. The only difference this time is that there's
video.
a camera.
Yeah, it's on video.
That's it, bro.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
dog, I want to thank you for coming.
I no doubt, bro. Appreciate you.
Man, respect to you, respect to your family, respect to your art.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a phenomenal job.
Likewise.
You always got a friend here. You always got a fan here. But I
Likewise, bro.
will
Appreciate
put a
it.
request in. When you start working on your project, send me a 16.
Oh, no doubt. Y'all already know. Y'all already
All right.
know. Y'all already
We
know.
said it, man.
Y'all
Appreciate
already
you,
know.
bro.
Yeah.
For sure, dog.
Appreciate you.